Another thing that I have to say to you, I believe that in many ways you were one of the people who's responsible for foisting Louis Walsh on the nation. Well, I mean, help Louis a lot when he was starting out.
Well, many years ago I went to open the Ham Festival at Claremorris. And
the Ham Festival.
Ham Festival. Now, I don't know why it was called the Ham Festival, but it was a Ham Festival. They always had a lot of ham down there or something. I don't know. But it was the ham. And Louis had this radio station going on in the town. He had it hooked up all around the town, and he interviewed me. He was about 17 or so at the time.
Yeah.
And then he came to Dublin, and he worked for Tommy Hayden. And he used to get on Ferrari for, get me to play records. He still remembers my phone number, because I met him there recently at something. He says to me, oh, you get rattled off my phone number.
And he'd ring Ferrari.
He would. He said, would he play such and such a thing? And she said sometimes, that's a load of rubbish, but he'd play it for you anyway. She said she never said anything like that, so Louis.
So if Ferrari with a bit of pillow talk later then would suggest you wouldn't think of playing such a record. I mean, you were saying the Ham Festival there, I'm thinking, and isn't it ironic that Louis ended up in the biggest Ham Festival of all time? But anyway, someone else that you worked a lot with down the years was, of course, Jerry Ryan. So were you shocked when you heard, I mean, obviously you're shocked when you heard he died. Were you shocked when you heard subsequently about his troubles and how he had died and everything?
Sure, I mean, I sat beside Jerry for 20 years, probably in the office, next desk to him all the time. And he was great fun. He was a marvellous character. He'd always get a laugh every day. He was a hard worker. A tremendous communicator, probably one of the best broadcasters we ever had, and that's the way I would like to remember him. I mean, the Jerry that I read about in the papers is not the Jerry that I knew at all.
But clearly, the Jerry in the papers was Jerry too. You would never have had any suspicion or inkling of
not
that.
An inkling. No, I never. Take anything to stop me in a cup of coffee or something. Never.
Really? I mean, I never would have heard talk or anything.
Actually, it's rumoured with everybody,
Yeah. And you would have worked you would have seen him a lot.
Every day. I saw him every day of my life. Almost, yeah. Right. Every day.
Do you think, given that you're on daytime every day as well, and you kind of have to go into that zone of performance and stuff during the day, and then maybe you finish up and it's still the middle of the day and you're kind of like done. Can you kind of see how someone like him who had to get into much more of a zone, and then it's like noon and he's done? Can you maybe understand a little bit why, say, he'd start boozing early in the day, or why he would have...
I mean, I don't know where they got that from, because he was there always after his show, preparing the show for the next day. He was always there working away. I mean, what you do on the air, people think it's the easiest thing you do, and maybe it is, but you have a lot of other work to do apart from that, preparing stuff,
Yeah. But can you see how the pressure of having to be Jerry Ryan for him might have kind of driven him to kind of get into
I don't know. I couldn't really answer that now, really.
Yeah.
I mean, as I say, that's why I would remember him the way he was, the way I knew him.
Yeah. Terribly sad.
Oh, it's very sad. Yeah.
So listen, Larry, I can't let you go without asking you about the Just a Minute quiz.
The funny answers.
A great national. Yeah. I mean, we've heard loads of them. What are your favourites?
Well, the ones people always talk about is where's the Taj Mahal up to the dental hospital? Where's the Great Wall crumbling? There was a Chinese restaurant there. You saw that. What language do they speak in Austria? Australian. What do you keep in a quiver? Jelly. Whose election is signified by white smoke? An Indian chief. And probably the one that Fanny always says is the best one he thinks is one. Which star do travellers follow? Joe Dolan.
Larry, can I just ask you my own personal interest? You've been through 50 years of seeing music come and go and everything, and I mean, I know I'm 40 now. I'm getting to the point I never thought I'd get to, where I listen to some of the music now and I think that's just noise. What are the young people listening to? Do you still kind of like modern music and new music and everything?
I mean, there's great bands. Really, you two are a fabulous band.
But they're around nearly as long as yourself.
All right. Well, the Script, the Coronas, O Emperor, Monday. There are lots and lots of Irish bands around that are terrific. And there's lots of... I mean, there was a lot of bad records around in the 60s too. People say, oh, the 60s were fantastic, with the Beatles and the Stones and all that thing. They also had some awful records. And you had awful records down in every decade, I think.
Yeah. What was the worst decade, would you say, for music?
People always say the 80s, but I don't know it. I don't know if there is a... I think there's good and bad in every decade.
Yeah.
The worst record is probably Save My Love by Rennie and Renata or something like that, you know.
Yeah, but even that has its own certain charm, doesn't it? Kind of. And what would be your golden period for music? Would it be the 60s and Beatles and Stones?
Probably, yeah. That probably would be, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. Kind of an era that you kind of grew up in, I suppose, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So do you have another few decades left in you, do you reckon?
Yeah, I think if people want you, I mean, if people are turning you off, you'd go, you know.
They're certainly not. They seem to love you more all the time, don't they?
They seem to be going fine, you know.
Yeah.
Can't complain.
Well, listen, thanks a million, and good luck with the next 50, Larry.
Thanks very much.
Larry Gogan.
Thank you.